come here not merely to learn, but to awaken, to remember what the soul once whispered before the ego built its walls. So I ask you, before we begin, are you ready to meet the shadow who chooses for you? To unveil the lover you never see but always feel? Because if you are to understand why you fall, for those who cannot give you their heart, you must first gaze into the hollowness where your own heart once fractured. This is not about the other, not truly. It never has been. The emotionally unavailable person is but the latest actor on a stage built long ago, in the theater of your childhood, written by the unconscious hand of unmet need. You think you chase love, but the truth is you reenact rejection. You do not desire what nurtures. You are drawn like iron to magnet, to what confirms the old ache. You say, why do I always attract those who cannot give back? But perhaps it is not attraction, but recognition. The unavailable soul is the mirror that reflects your inner abandonment, the echo of the parent who did not see you, the archetype of the wound in motion. Love is not absent here, rather it is distorted, projected upon the screen of an inner mythos. The psyche does not repeat what it enjoys. It repeats what it seeks to resolve. So understand this, the emotionally unavailable partner is not a mistake. They are a symbol, a cipher, a clue in the dreamwork of your becoming. And until you lift the veil and pierce the illusion, you will find yourself looping back again and again, different faces, same emptiness, same hunger. You are not cursed. You are unconscious. And that is far more dangerous. To fall for the unavailable is to fall into a trance of the inner child, who still believes that if they become good enough, beautiful enough, selfless enough, they will finally be chosen. But let me ask you, by whom? The present partner or the ghost behind them, the partner before you or the father who withdrew, the mother who was consumed by sorrow, the figure who taught you that love is to be earned, never received. In dreams, this manifests as a house with missing rooms or as a banquet with no food. You reach, you knock, but no one answers. This is the language of the unconscious. These are not just symbols, they are cries from the parts of you exiled to the margins of your own psyche. You do not fall for the unavailable merely because of attraction. You fall because something in you longs to go back and rewrite the origin, but the past cannot be rewritten. It must be remembered, reintegrated, so that you may walk forward whole. Do you see now? You do not want the one who withholds. You want your pain to mean something. You want the story to end differently this time. But the story will not end differently until you stop trying to change the characters and begin transforming the script. The unavailable lover is a projection of the animus or anima distorted. They appear as gods, desirable and aloof, because they are not truly human in your perception. They are archetypal figures wearing the mask of a mortal. You chase them not for love, but for transcendence. You assign them meaning they have not earned, hoping they will redeem the wound that made you feel unworthy of true affection. The moment you romanticize inconsistency, you are already in the realm of shadow. Love is not mystery. Love is presence. But you equate presence with boredom because you were never taught that peace is safe. You were taught that love hurts, so you only feel alive when love bleeds. This is not your fault, but it is your work. Let me tell you about a woman I saw in my clinic. She dreamt of walking through a desert toward a man made of glass. Every time she reached him, he shattered. She wept, believing she had broken him. But I told her, you are not breaking him, you are touching the truth. The glass man was never solid. He only appeared whole until intimacy revealed the fragility. This is the tragedy of projection. We fall in love with potentials, not people. We dance with illusions, then call it fate. But this is not fate. This is forgetting. And so the question arises, what lives in you that keeps needing to be rejected? Here lies the heart of the mystery. Within the collective unconscious lies the archetype of the orphan, not just literal, but psychic. The orphan archetype lives in those who, as children, were emotionally neglected. It whispers, you are alone and no one is coming. To survive, the orphan child becomes the savior. If I can heal them, they think they will finally stay. Thus begins the trauma bond disguised as love. You do not choose partners. You choose wounds that feel like home. You seek out the familiar pain because it is the only language you were taught. But love is not pain. Love is transformation. Love says, I see you as you are, without needing you to be less or more. And until you speak this to yourself, until you become the one who stays for your own heart, you will continue searching for someone who cannot. You must understand, the emotionally unavailable partner is not the enemy. They are a messenger. Though unconscious of their role, they show you where you still abandon yourself. When they pull away, you chase. When they go silent, you scream. But none of this is about them. It is the echo of your inner child saying, please don't leave. I promise I'll be better. Better than what? Better than a child. You see, this is the cruelty of unconscious guilt. It convinces the psyche that it must earn what should be freely given. It binds love to performance. But love is not performance. Love is being to awaken from this spell. You must meet the figure in the mirror, the one you exile, when you say, I only attract the wrong people. What you truly mean is, I attract those who confirm the script. I unconsciously believe, and that script was written in the ink of early wounds, shaped by the archetypes of betrayal, abandonment, enmeshment. What you do not integrate, you will attract. What you do not heal, you will repeat. Now, there is a temptation to demonize the unavailable, but beware, for they too are trapped in their own pattern. Many are avoidance, not by cruelty, but by wounding. Their distance is their defense. Their silence is the wall they built to survive. They are not withholding love out of malice. They fear that if they give, they will vanish. This too is an archetype. The wounded magician, the hermit behind glass, you cannot fix them. You were never meant to. You are not their healer. You are your own And so the alchemical work begins. Let the fire of insight burn away the illusion. Let the waters of self-compassion cleanse the inner child. Let the air of understanding bring clarity. And let the earth of presence ground you in the now. No more chasing ghosts. No more romanticizing wounds. You must see the unavailable as a reflection of your own disconnection. The soul does not crave what it already possesses. If you are whole, you will no longer be drawn to half-built homes. So I ask you again, are you willing to grieve what you never received? Are you willing to choose yourself even when the silence tempts you to beg? Are you willing to be loved in a way that does not make you anxious? Because love, true love, is not intensity. It is consistency. It is not drama. It is safety. But you must rewire your nervous system to accept what once felt foreign. You must let go of the identity built on longing. You must become the one who gives, not because you hope to be chosen, but because you have already chosen yourself. This is the work. This is the journey back to soul. We are not merely flesh and blood. We are misincarnate, living symbols, each of us shaped by dreams older than our lifetimes. And so, when you ask why you fall for the one who will not touch your soul, I do not answer with a diagnosis. I offer a mirror, for the answer lies not in the surface of your desire, but in the depths of the archetype that governs it. You see, the emotionally unavailable person you long for is not simply a partner. You have made them into an oracle. You kneel at their silence like a priest before God, hoping that one day their eyes will soften, that one day their voice will say, "You are enough." But what you really seek is not their love, it is initiation. To love someone who does not love you back is to submit to a dark ritual, a trial of the self. And within that trial, something deeper is always being asked: will you abandon yourself again? That is the true question. It is not, why do they keep leaving, but why do you keep going after those who teach you to leave yourself? You offer your joy like a sacrifice on their altar. You bend, you shrink, you explain, you wait. But the waiting is not patient, it is penance. What guilt lingers in your unconscious that you believe? This is what love must be. In many of my dreams and sessions with patients, I saw this repeated, the symbol of the locked door. A lover stands behind it, and the dreamer knocks, weeps, sometimes pounds until their fists bleed, but the door remains closed. They wake trembling, thinking the dream is about rejection, but it is not. The door is not theirs to open. It is theirs to walk away from. There is a seduction in longing, a strange ecstasy in pain. We confuse suffering with devotion. But this is not sacred love. This is the addiction of the wounded psyche. You fall for the unavailable, not because they are special, but because your wound recognizes their silence like a melody. It once learned in childhood. The inner child sits beside that locked door and says, if I just try harder, I will be let in. But trying harder is the illusion. The truth is, there is no key that opens another's heart until they choose to open it themselves. And your work is not to wait. Your work is to turn around and finally look at your own house abandoned, neglected, waiting to be lived in. You say, but I love them. No, what you love is the story you've built around them. You love the potential, not the reality. And this, too, is a psychic phenomenon, projection. The psyche, when not conscious, projects its inner longings onto figures in the outer world. You fall not for who they are, but for who you become when you are around them, hopeful, desperate, alive. But what kind of aliveness is this? The kind that vanishes when they pull away, the kind that leaves you hollow when the text doesn't come. This is not love. This is trauma reenactment. And still, it feels real. Because to the unconscious, familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar peace. Peace is terrifying when chaos is your homeland. So when someone offers you consistency, you find them dull. You tell yourself there's no spark. But the spark you seek is not passion, it's anxiety. That anxiety has become your compass, but I tell you now that compass points not to love, but to repetition. We must learn a new compass. One rooted not in the chaos of unmet need, but in the stillness of integration. Let us go deeper. There is a figure in the depths of the unconscious known as the shadow. It holds all that you have exiled: shame, rage, fear, neediness, longing. And when you fall for someone who denies you love, this shadow whispers, this is what you deserve. You see, the shadow doesn't punish. It repeats, not to hurt you, but to wake you up. You cannot outrun your unconscious. It is not behind you. It is beneath you. And if you do not descend and meet it, it will rise and choose your lovers for you. The way out is the way down into the darkness of your own forgotten longings, into the cave where the inner child waits, not for the partner, but for you. You are the one they need, not the emotionally unavailable man or woman. You must become the one who says, I am here now. I see you. You no longer have to earn love by bleeding for it. The moment you do this, the spell begins to break, and now you might say, but how do I stop falling for them? And I would answer by becoming conscious of the part of you that chooses them, not shaming it, not fighting it, but sitting beside it as you would a frightened child. Ask it, what are you trying to resolve? Whose love are you still trying to earn? What does their absence mean about me? Do not look for rational answers. The soul does not speak in logic. It speaks in metaphor, in image, in feeling. And the feeling that arises when you are abandoned again is the key. Trace it. Trace it back to the first time you felt invisible. The first time you learned to tie your worth to another's approval. The first time you believed that love was something you had to beg for. In this excavation, you will find not answers, but release. And once released, you will begin to desire differently. Because true healing does not mean you no longer feel drawn to the unavailable. It means you no longer obey that pull. You recognize it for what it is, the echo of a wound, not the voice of truth. And truth is quiet. It will never shout for your attention. But when you listen, it says, you are already enough. You do not need to earn it. You do not need to be perfect to be loved. This is what the emotionally unavailable teach us, not through their words, but through their absence. Their pulling away is the catalyst, their silence, the bell that rings in the cavern of your own unmet self. The task is not to change them, it is to change what in you still believes they are your salvation. They are not. You are. Let the anima in you rise. The inner feminine, she who waits not for a savior, but remembers she is the soul of the world. Let the animus in you awaken. The sacred masculine, not the pursuer, not the warrior, but the builder of inner structure, the protector of boundaries. When these archetypes come into harmony within, you will no longer seek their distorted reflections without, you will not fall for silence. You will not confuse coldness for mystery. You will not mistake avoidance for depth. You will recognize love not by its hunger, but by its calm. And yes, you will grieve. You will mourn the years you lost in longing, the hours spent analyzing messages, the days spent waiting for them to choose you. But let that grief come. Let it baptize you. Because on the other side of that grief is a door, not locked, not closed, but always open. The door of self-remembering, the home you never knew you had, the place in you that was never broken, only buried. You are not too much, you are not too needy, you are not unworthy. These are spells cast long ago by those who could not love you in the way you needed. But the spell ends when you say, I no longer choose pain as my teacher. And then one day you will meet someone who stays, and the old part of you will want to run because stability will feel foreign. Love will feel suspicious. But you will pause, you will breathe, and you will say, this is new, this is safe, and I will stay not just with them, but with yourself, because the one you've always longed for, the one whose presence would finally make you feel whole, is not out there. They are within. They are the one listening now. They are you. And you have come home. You must understand, healing is not a sudden ascent into light. It is a descent into your own underworld. You do not rise above the pattern of falling for the emotionally unavailable. You go down into it, through it, until you retrieve the golden seed buried in its very center, the realization that you were never unlovable, only unseen by eyes that did not know how to see. And so this journey is not linear. You will circle back. You will feel the pull again. The phone will buzz. Their name will flash like a symbol in the night. Your heart may leap, not because you love them still, but because the old myth stirs. The myth that says maybe this time they will come closer. Maybe this time the silence will speak. But myths do not change unless you do. Psyche is loyal to its own suffering until it finds a new story. And the new story cannot be borrowed. It must be carved through courage, through inner work, through the daily practice of choosing peace over chaos, truth over illusion, self-respect over self-abandonment. It is a profound rebellion to walk away from a wound disguised as a person. But that rebellion is sacred. It is the act of individuation, the becoming of your true self, free from the unconscious projections that once enslaved you. The process I have spoken of so often is not a psychological trend, it is a spiritual necessity. To individuate is to become whole. And wholeness begins when you stop seeking outside what must be reclaimed within. You ask, but if I let go, what remains? Yourself. And that is terrifying only because you have not met yourself fully yet. There are rooms within your soul you have never entered because you were too busy knocking on others. Let us enter one now. Close your eyes, if you must, and see a room bathed in golden light. A mirror stands in the center, not the kind that shows your face, but the kind that reveals your essence. Approach it. Do not flinch. Do not turn away. Look, what do you see? Do you see the child holding a wilted flower, waiting for someone to accept her offering? Do you see the adolescent, arms crossed, saying, I don't care, while aching to be chosen? Do you see the adult smiling, performing, seducing, achieving just to be worthy of a glance? Do not shame them. They were you, they are you, and they carried you here to the sacred mirror, where you can finally say, I see you, I choose you. You no longer have to ache for what never came. I am here now, and I am not leaving. This is not a metaphor. This is a ritual. Every act of self-compassion is a ritual of return. Every time you say no to a love that hurts, you say yes to the love that heals. Not a love found in another, but a love that builds a cathedral in your bones. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are only awakening, and as you awaken, you will begin to see the patterns not as curses, but as teachers. The emotionally unavailable lover taught you to find the one who never leaves yourself. The absence taught you presence. The longing taught you depth. The rejection taught you truth. And truth is this: the love you seek begins with the silence you've been avoiding. Sit in that silence. Listen. Beneath the noise of craving, beneath the echoes of every unanswered text, there is a still, steady voice. It does not shout. It does not beg. It says, only I am here. This is the self, the divine center of your being. Not the persona, not the mask, not the wounded child. The self, the one who knows, the one who waits, the one who watches you chase ghosts with a sad smile, knowing you will one day return. And when you return, the self does not punish, it embraces, it welcomes, it says, you needed to forget in order to remember, and then it hands you a key not to the locked door of the other's heart, but to the temple of your own. Walk in, light a candle, stay a while. There is no rush. No one is coming to complete you. But in this space, you will realize no one needs to. You were never incomplete. Only convinced you were. This is the paradox of healing. You come seeking answers, and instead you find presence. You want solutions, but you receive awareness. And that awareness changes everything. You no longer ask, why don't they love me? You begin to ask, why have I settled for so little? You no longer wonder if you are enough for them. You begin to wonder if they are enough for you. This is not arrogance. This is the restoration of balance. For too long, the scales were tipped. You gave, you chased, you hoped. Now, if you breathe, you rest, you choose, not from a place of bitterness, but from sovereignty. And here we must speak of forgiveness, not for them, but for yourself. Forgive yourself for staying too long, for believing too hard, for abandoning your own needs. You did not know. You were asleep in a dream taught by your lineage, your culture, your trauma, but you are awake now. And awakening is never clean. It is messy, it is painful, it shatters before it rebuilds. But oh, how it rebuilds. You will rebuild your life around wholeness, not lack, around truth, not fantasy, around love, not longing. And when you meet someone new, and you will not ask, will they stay? You will ask, does my soul feel safe here? And if the answer is no, you will leave. Not because you are afraid, but because you are finally free. This is not the end of your story. This is the turning. And from this turning point forward, you will not chase the emotionally unavailable. You will honor the part of you that once did, and you will gently guide them home, because the home you sought in others is the home you now carry within. And that is sacred. Now we enter the final chamber, not of closure, for healing does not end it, ripples but of return. The hero's journey is never about conquering the other, but about retrieving the fragmented pieces of the self scattered through time and soul memory. You do not come to fix the emotionally unavailable. You come to reclaim the parts of you that were magnetized to them. And this reclamation is not done through force. It is done through awareness. Every time you felt the ache of being ghosted, the throb of inconsistent affection, the knowing silence that followed vulnerability, those were not failures. They were signals. The psyche is a precise alchemist. It brings you the very people who stir your deepest unloved places, not to punish you, but to show you where your work lies. So I ask you now, with gentleness and reverence, can you name the first time you felt this kind of pain? Not the recent heartbreak, not the lover who withdrew, but the first instance when the part of you that now longs to be chosen was first told it was too much, too sensitive, too needy. That is the true source. You must go to it not with analysis, but with love. Sit with that moment, not as the adult trying to rationalize it, but as the witness who brings light. Wrap your arms around that version of you. Let them cry. Let them scream. Let them tell the truth without shame. Because you see, healing is not about becoming better. It is about becoming real. And nothing is more real than your grief. Nothing is more holy than your truth. So, Donald Bipas, we do not replace the old pain with affirmations or mantras. Those are surface tools. We go into the depths. We sit beside the dragon. We drink from the river of sorrow. And in that descent, we retrieve the gold, the soul fragment that was once given away in exchange for conditional love. This is the path of the mystic, the path of the wounded healer, the path of the archetypal return. And when you have retrieved what was lost, something remarkable happens. The spell begins to dissolve. You wake one morning and feel neutrality where once there was craving. There is calm. Where once their silence defined you, now your own presence holds you. You no longer need to be chosen because you have chosen yourself. And from this new place, you see with new eyes. The emotionally unavailable are no longer magnetic, they are transparent. You see the pattern. You feel the warning in your body. The ache that used to draw you in now signals this is familiar, but it is not safe. And you listen, not because you are afraid, but because you are wise. This is what individuation offers, the ability to discern not from fear, but from self-knowledge. So you will begin to build relationships, not on fantasy, but on truth, not on projection, but on presence, not on wounded longing, but on mature désir. And yes, there may be fewer sparks, less chaos. But what replaces them is something far more precious: peace. Peace is the true erotic currency of the healed psyche. To be seen, to be met, to be held without performance. That is the sacred fire of the awakened heart. But it can only ignite when you no longer chase what harms you, and what of those you once called to you through your unconscious pattern, they may still appear. The world is full of half-formed hearts. But now you will greet them not with need, but with clarity, not with will you love me, but with can you meet me where I've already met myself? And if the answer is no, you will bless them and keep walking, because this is what sovereignty means. Not solitude, not superiority, but self-respect, the kind that says, I am no longer available for relationships that cost me my peace. You see, your peace is your compass. Now, not the butterflies in your stomach that was anxiety, not the racing heart that was fear masked as excitement, but the quiet knowing that says, here, I am safe to be fully me. That is love. That is the beginning of union, not with another, but within yourself. And when union happens within, the outer world responds. You begin to attract, not by manipulation, not by strategy, but by resonance. You become a tuning fork of authenticity. And only those who vibrate at the same frequency will remain. It is not magic. It is psychological law. The unconscious rules until it is made conscious, and once conscious, it no longer chooses for you. You choose freely, boldly, kindly. This is your rebirth. And if you feel fear now, fear of being alone, fear of never being loved again, I tell you this, it is not a prophecy. It is the residue of the old story, trying to keep you from walking through the threshold. Fear is the gatekeeper of transformation. Its job is not to stop you, but to test your resolve. So stand in that threshold, feel the tremble, and walk forward anyway. You are not the wounded child anymore. You are the one who returned for them. You are not the seeker begging for scraps. You are the soul who has remembered its worth. You are not falling for the unavailable. You are rising to the inevitable truth. You were never unlovable. You were never too much. You were only waiting to be met. And now you have met yourself, and so The final initiation is not to find another, but to become the one you longed for, to be the safe place, to be the present heart, to be the consistent witness, to give to yourself what you once believed only the emotionally distant could offer if you tried hard enough. This is how the pattern ends. This is how the story changes. This is how you become free.